Okay, hold on. Hey friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Keelan, and we are in the garden today, just kind of doing a garden walk. Today it rained. We didn't get a ton of rain. I forget what we got. We'll check at the end of this video, check my rain gauge and see what we got, but we did get a little bit of rain. And so everything is just nicely watered. It has been super, super hot here. We're actually in a good period of a drought, so it's been really dry. So I love the garden after it's rained because everything just it smells so good. I don't know how to describe the smell. It just smells fresh. And everything's happy. Everything is popped and and everything's happy. You know, all the plants are not droopy and everything just looks so happy. Right after it rains. So we're doing our normal evening garden walk, and I thought I'd bring you guys along and show you everything that's going on. I gotta prop these back up, they're really low. But there is so much happening in the garden. Look at this corn. This corn is well above my height, and it's starting to put on some of its corn husks. So I am really excited. So I'm really excited to see what that corn does. I have a really big patch of corn. I do have that's tomatoes, corn over here. I do have the corn planted very close together. But so far, let me see if I can show you, but so far it seems to be working out. Well, the inside of my corn is definitely not as tall as the outside of my corn. So like that corn is very tall. The inside, not so much. Now, I do think that is kind of weird, I'll be honest. However, I will say that my corn has definitely shot up. The corn that's way taller than me has definitely shot up in the last like week. So it's the week after July 4th. July 4th was a week ago yesterday. And the saying is, your corn needs to be knee high by 4th of July. And it was well over knee high. And actually, at 4th of July, it was probably about shoulder height. Some of the tall pieces were just kind of at the top of my head, maybe an inch or two over. And now they're probably a foot and a half over. So the saying, knee high by 4th of July, all of my corn, even what's in the middle that isn't as tall as the corn on the outside of it, is still taller than where it's still meeting its height requirements in order for me to get corn this year. So I'm really excited for this corn. I'm really hopeful that it does well and it gives me a good amount of corn. I'm hoping I have enough to put back this year. So we'll see. I've never been successful growing corn to preserve. I've grown a couple of ears that I've eaten, but corn I think is a little harder to do. And then one thing I will say, because we are in a drought, which means we're not getting thunderstorms, but typically with thunderstorms you also get wind. And so typically every year I plant corn, I struggle keeping the corn from going flat or from falling down. And that hasn't happened this year. So, hey Soy, come on baby, you can come through. Good job, baby. So that hasn't happened this year. So I'm actually impressed that all my corn is still standing, and I hope I didn't just jinx it. So this pumpkin patch and it's done exactly what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to really fill out this space. It 100% has, and I've kind of encroached on this walkway right here, but that's okay. But I got some good sized pumpkins coming. I planted in this space, excuse me. So I planted in this space a whole bunch of different pumpkins. I definitely see I have one pumpkin that's massive and it's putting off white pumpkins. I have no idea if this whole space is one pumpkin or if it's multiples. So far I only see a couple of white pumpkins. So we'll see. It's still going everywhere. It still has plenty of time to give me pumpkins. So we're gonna see what this does. This is mainly for fall decorating. I do like to harvest some pumpkin and put in the freezer. I'm not a huge pumpkin person, but this is mainly for fall decorating. So that has gone and done amazing things. So we are about 2 weeks before August, and so I want to talk about the August curse. I talk about the August curse every year, and we are actually in general about 2 weeks ahead of schedule. The temperatures this year, I got everything in my garden about 2 weeks ahead of time, and we're definitely feeling that August push. So what I mean by the August push is in August, with the heat, things go absolutely crazy. You lose control over your weeds, you lose control over your plants, you lose control over the garden. And I'm definitely feeling, I'm gonna walk you guys around and show you, I'm definitely feeling that. And I just want to show you because the garden is about to explode. The garden is about to explode. And it's both something to be excited about and something I dread. I like my nice organized garden. I like when I can see my paths. I like that I can see the ground. I like that I have an organized garden. And that, if you look right there, you don't see the path. There's a path. You don't see it. Every year in August, this year 2 weeks early, you lose the path, or you lose the organization of your garden. At least I do. The plants get huge. I have huge zucchini. The plants get huge. They encroach on your paths. The weeds take over. This is a time where I say your garden looks both the best it's ever looked and the worst it's ever looked. It looks the best it's ever looked in the sense that it's filled with plants. There's so much food. Everything is doing fantastic things. But it looks the worst it's ever looked because it looks, for me, very unorganized, very untidy, very messy. And I don't like that. But having an in-ground garden, and I don't have a lot of space, so I definitely would rather overplant the space and have it be messy and get more food than keep it straight and organized and not get as much food. So I am taking that, I'm making that choice. But you put my hand in bird poop. But it does still kind of bother me. So I wanted to show you the garden kind of right before it explodes. It has exploded within the last week, but this is just the start of the whole. So I wanted to walk you around and show you, and then again to show you kind of what we have going on. So my green beans here, this is a green bean trellis, have made it the whole way to the top, and then I have one over there that stops right around there. So we're basically the whole way to the top with our green beans, but I always forget to put mosquito spray on. I'm getting bit up by mosquitoes. So these are not, my green beans are not producing yet, which I'm kind of like, shouldn't they be producing by now? But I'm trying not to worry. I have green beans over here in my green stalk that actually are producing. Right here is one. Actually are producing green beans. So I haven't got enough for a meal. I'm kind of just picking them right now to keep them coming. Picked a little handful yesterday. But there's my green beans are just starting to come in, and I still have my zucchini doing beautiful things. So let's talk about what has exploded aside from the corn and the squash. So this is my sweet potatoes and beans. I have sweet potatoes and beans in this whole mixture. And so first of all, you can see, here's the path, and the path actually goes the whole way over there, whole path. And then all these runners are my beans. So let's go. So I just planted these about 3 weeks ago. These beans were about 3 weeks ago. Let's watch where we step. Come down here. These beans, I planted in the beginning of May. I don't even know what's happening over here. So I definitely made the mistake, and I put my trellis, my bean trellis, back too far. And I didn't then plant my beans back against the trellis. So I planted the beans in front, and then I'm like, okay, as they grow, I will kind of guide the beans to the trellis, which I did. And then they got to be a lot. They started kind of going a little crazy. And then the weeds, you can see I definitely have some grasses coming. The weeds are coming, and the problem with pulling weeds sometimes, and the problem that I experienced here, is I tried to pull weeds. I ended up pulling one sweet potato plant by accident, which I definitely don't want to do. And then I pulled a couple of bean plants by accident trying to pull weeds. So sometimes you just have to let the weeds go, because pulling the weeds, you're sacrificing your plants. And I'd rather have the weeds and my plants than have no weeds and no plants. So this is just a gigantic mess and a half. The one thing I always say is let your garden go. You will be able to regain it come the frost. It is surprising how fast you can regain your garden. So never lose hope. But my garden's such a mess. I planted okra, and I didn't think I had any okra germinate. Let me show you. I literally just saw this right now. That's an okra. This is an okra. That is an okra. So I have 2 okras in the midst of the beans and the sweet potatoes. So that is so exciting. I was bumming because I wasn't gonna have okra. Guess who's gonna have okra? And then look what I'm just now seeing. Again, I love doing garden walks. I haven't done a garden walk in a couple days because it's been so hot. But look what I'm seeing. This hollyhock is gonna bloom. So I planted a whole bunch of hollyhocks this year. Planted one there. I planted one down here somewhere. Somewhere maybe. And then there's one also somewhere in there. But look at this tomato plant. Like, and this is the pathway too that got lost. But so I'm excited to see that hollyhock is going to flower this year. And then these hollyhocks are just about done. Still putting off some beautiful color, but just about done. So we're at the point where we're just kind of winding around the garden, finding how to get to other parts of the garden without touching as many plants as we possibly can. So fun fact about me, I'm allergic to the garden. The garden makes me incredibly itchy. Touching plants makes me incredibly itchy. So if I'm not like actively gardening, I try not to touch. But we made it. So tomato jungle. This tomato has officially fallen over. This is one tomato plant that is just massive. Doesn't begin to describe it. If I didn't know any better, I would say I'd given that plant steroids. I definitely didn't, but it is amazing how big it is. What is not really exploding are my peppers. So that guy there is pretty big. They are growing peppers. Every pepper plant has peppers on it. Here, I'll show you. I'm seeing fun things for the first time. Look at that guy. So many little jalapenos on him. And then this guy over there. So every pepper is doing fantastic things. Not as big as I thought I would want them to be at this point, but they're all looking really, really healthy. And so we're gonna take that and say that we're gonna have a great pepper harvest based on how great those plants look. And I lost probably 4 plants to slugs, four pepper plants to slugs this year. So the fact that we're still gonna have a great pepper harvest, I think, is phenomenal. We haven't planted the fall garden yet. The fall garden's gonna go in this weekend. Some of the fall garden, the potatoes are gonna go in this weekend. The rest of the fall garden has been started and are probably going within the next 2 weeks, probably towards the end of July. But we've left the brassicas in. This is also something that I really struggled to get to grow because of slugs. So we left that in there, and we're gonna see what they do. And we're gonna talk, probably about a month, we're gonna talk about how we are gonna overwinter some spaces to do some winter gardening this year for the first time. So I'm really excited for that, so stay tuned for that. But we're gonna leave those brassicas in there, and we're gonna see if they do anything. I'm really hopeful that they will give me, so they're still produce fruit. They're well behind where they should be because they got eaten to nothing and they regrew. But I have hope. Another thing that has gone just absolutely wild is weeds. We got a lot of pokeweed, thistle and pokeweed. So the thistle, I'm on a mission this year. I'm spraying the thistle as it grows. I'm kind of waiting until I can get the brassicas out of this space before I go in and spray, because I don't want to touch my plants. So I'm kind of letting it go right now. It has gone to seed. I can never get rid of thistle. I'm fighting hard this year to get rid of thistle. I don't know that I'm winning, but I don't know that I'm losing. That space is different, but the rest of the space, I don't see as much thistle as I have in the past. So I'm hopeful that I'm getting that under control. I just see so many tomatoes. I'm so ready. I've been harvesting cherry tomatoes like crazy. I'll show you, but I haven't gotten any full-size tomatoes yet, and I am just so stinking anxious for some full-size tomatoes. Look at all the tomatoes. Every year I have a tomato that I keep my eye on for as soon as that tomato ripens. That's gonna be my first tomato caprese. And I found my 2 tomatoes, and I'm patiently waiting for them to ripen. And I think it's fine. These are the tomatoes I check on every single day. I don't even know what else is going on in the garden, but I'm checking on these 2 every single day for them to ripen up so I can have tomato caprese, brown butter tomatoes, tomato sandwich, all the tomato things. So let me show you my 2 favorite tomatoes right now. Those 2 right there are the ones I'm eyeing up. They're nice size tomatoes. Look at that huge cucumber right there. Oh my god. I completely obviously missed him, and he is going to be so bitter, but let's pick him. This is a pickle. Look how big that thing is. So pickles you want to harvest small. That's way too big, and it started to turn yellow, which means it's actually going to be bitter. So this is not actually going to get eaten, and that kind of sucks. Pickles have been hiding from me this year. I just canned my first batch of pickles. I had about, what did I say? I think I had about 7 pounds of pickles. And so that's more than enough for me. So I made 1 full batch of pickles. And now kind of I think whatever else I do get out of those plants, I think I'm just going to put out and try to maybe put out on the side of the road and see if I can't get, like, put $2 on them, see if anyone wants some pickles. But, so those are my tomatoes that I'm eyeing up, and I'm so ready for them to ripen up. But the garden is doing beautiful things. We're right before the explosions. Like I said, I just wanted to do a video to show what it does look like before the explosion. You might think it's crazy now, but give it a month and then we'll talk crazy. So this weekend, I think the potatoes are going to go in this weekend, and then we've already started our fall plants. So we need to, in the next probably 2 weeks, talk about kind of moving things out and bring in some new plants in to get our fall garden started. But we are to the point where you can't come out into the garden without a basket because we have so much coming in, and we just have so much food coming in. I will forever love being a gardener because the amount of food that is coming in and out of this garden, I know that I put time and effort into planting the things and fertilizing the things and planting and starting the things from scratch and putting them in the garden and watering them and all that stuff. Like, I put a lot of energy and effort into this, but all of the energy and the effort you put into it completely disappear when you start harvesting bucket loads and bucket loads of food. So that's really exciting. And then before we end this, the flower garden, I showed you that in the beginning. Hold on, Zoe. The flower garden has done, it's starting to come in. So I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks that I can start getting some bouquets made and start maybe putting them out for sale. The whole point of that area is to be a flower farm so I can sell bouquets. So I'm hoping I can do that this year, within the next couple weeks. And then I've already started thinking about ways I'm going to expand that because there's a couple more flowers I definitely want to plant. So we need to have a conversation about expanding. Look what I just saw. I just harvested a cucumber and I didn't even know that I had this one coming. This is what I love about a garden. You never know. You never know what you're gonna find. And I feel like it's always a little kind of like treasure hunt to see what all you're gonna find. So I'm gonna take the dog inside. She is ready to go inside. Thank you guys for joining me, and stay tuned to see how this garden continues to explode over the next couple of weeks. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.